Hey EBC, welcome back to our 21-day fast. This is day 11. Thank you so much for joining me once again. I hope you enjoyed the devotion yesterday from Reverend Natalie. She did a fantastic job on teaching us how to deal with adversity and how to be unshakable in adversity. And so today I want to talk about something that is very similar to something we talked about last week, but it is a little bit different. Last week, you remember we talked about unshakable identity, and I want to talk about unshakable purpose today. And in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10, it says, "For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them." We are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. A question that you often hear asked is, what is your why? Why do you get up in the morning? Why do you go to the gym? Why do you pray? Asked in another way, it could be, what is your purpose? Now, purpose is not fragile. Purpose doesn't evaporate when life becomes chaotic or disappointment, because according to Paul, you are God's workmanship, his masterpiece, his intentional design, and masterpieces are not created by accident. Remember, we talked a little bit about how this would connect to our identity, but that we were created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand. So that our purpose is not ruined by rough seasons. It's not discarded because of a setback. That from the beginning, God prepared good works for you to walk in. Before you were born, before you ever failed, before you ever doubted, God has set a design in place for you that you can walk out. That means purpose isn't something that you chase randomly. It means that it's something that you were created for. Now, Paul wrote Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10 to believers learning to live out their faith in a culture filled with spiritual confusion, pressure, and compromise. They didn't always feel called. They didn't always feel chosen, and they didn't always feel strong. Yet Paul will anchor them in this truth that your purpose is bigger than your problems. Nothing you've been through will disqualify you from the work that God has prepared for you. The work's still got to get done, and God has gifted you and prepared you for it. Not the delays, not the disappointments, not the detours. That God's plan was built knowing every part of your story, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses. And sometimes the loudest lie that people will believe about purpose is that you missed it. You missed it. That maybe it's a relationship that you thought you were supposed to be. Oh, you missed that opportunity. Maybe it was a job. Maybe it was a past mistake, a failure that was on you that took you from something that you thought was part of your purpose. But I want to encourage you that purpose is not a single door. Purpose is a daily walk. God reveals purpose step by step, season by season. Now, as part of this 21-day fast, I want to encourage you that fasting is something that can be used to clarify your steps. It helps clear the fog. It drowns out the voices of comparison and helps you recognize that God has been forming what God has been forming in you all along. Because sometimes, in a season of fasting, removing the noise, removing some of those daily pleasures, those things that we have used to fill us, and it makes space for God to be able to speak more clearly to us, to recenter us on our purpose. Otherwise, what we can find ourselves doing is becoming eternal handymen in life. So we're going from thing to thing to thing with our hammer and our drill, trying to fix all these different situations, forgetting the primary purpose that God has set before you. And so I encourage you, the way you have an unshakable purpose is recognizing that every day, every step you take, if you lay it before God, that God has, one, equipped you for it, two, he goes with you. So it's not something that he sends you out to do on your own. He will go with you. He will go before you. So even the seasons that you have hated, they contributed to the calling that you carry. So there are difficult seasons. And what happens in those difficult seasons, they craft us and they shape us. And my calling in, we'll say 2004, when I was just finishing up high school, I'm just going off to Bible college, I had a specific skill set at that given time. From 2004 to 2026, God has crafted me, shaped me with whether it be adversity, whether it be the great people that he surrounded me with, but he has prepared me for the purpose that he has for me this year. And so I encourage you today, you didn't miss your purpose, you didn't miss your calling, but in the same way, let me encourage you not to forget that you are called, that every moment does have purpose, every moment does have a reason. Ask yourself again, in the way I framed it earlier in this devotion, what is my why? What has God called me to? What is God trying to shape me for? And how can I walk that out in a way that will best please Him? Purpose will live in your present, not just your future. Purpose is the endurance you're building. Purpose is in the character that God is shaping, because God wastes nothing. Every season has been preparing you for the good works God wrote into your DNA. So here's the challenge for you to wrap up this devotion. In 2026, how will you walk out your purpose? Not the purpose that you have decided for yourself, but the purpose that God has went ahead of you and prepared for you. God, how will I walk that out? And I believe that just starts very simply by putting yourself before God and saying, God, I want to walk this out to the best of my ability. I know this is the skill set you've given me. I want to walk out my purpose on purpose. I don't want to be an eternal fixer where I'm just going from thing to thing to thing to thing, trying to kind of keep life together. God, I want to do life on purpose, walking in my purpose. And so because of that purpose, because God has given it to you, and because He cannot be shaken, it means you can also walk it out unshakable. So walk knowing this: if God called you to it, nothing in your life will cancel what God created you for. God bless you today. Thanks for joining me. I hope that you'll join us tomorrow.